Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Dead Dudes. We are here with a new podcast episode for you guys. And today, joining me, we have Cam and we have Isaiah.
Hello.
And
Chance isn't here.
no chance. Okay, he did not read the book. He read the first 19 minutes, and
then he's like, "Oh, this is trash," and then he just stopped.
and we're like, we don't understand any point of you being here if you didn't read the topic that we're talking about. And then he just left.
So he got the boot. Chance is gone, guys. R.I.P. Chance.
Until next week.
But I think I should introduce the topic of this podcast since I recommended it.
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
What we're talking about today is this is a book called "It's All in Your Head," and it's by Russ. Now, for those of you who don't know, I assume you guys don't know because you're not really with the rap industry like I am. But Russ is basically a very successful rapper, and a lot of the pool of him is that he's like self-made to the point he was completely independent. He avoided getting snatched up by labels. He's very talkative. He brags about his successes a lot, so he's very cocky or confident, depending on how you phrase it, right? And he talks about this in the book even. But a lot of what this book is about is like believing in yourself and not letting society kind of trap you in a mindset. And I remember, not to overshare, but I remember when I started, I found this book after I think a YouTube video recommendation or watching an interview of Russ, and he mentioned he had a book on it, right? And I was curious to read that book, so I looked up like a free audiobook version. I found the video of the audiobook, link in the description, by the way. It's very short. And I read it, and it kind of took away a lot of the anxiety and fear I have placed in my future of oh, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna get this? Am I gonna get that? And it more so instilled me with what I needed to have in my head. So that's the base of the book. You should read it yourself because we're about to go very in depth on it. This is like a self-advice, motivational type book, and it's really something that I think will help you get where you need to go.
Thank you, Cam, for your very powerful speech there.
Stop calling them powerful speeches, bro. I mean, it's good for my ego. Keep calling them powerful speeches.
Can I go next?
Yeah.
Bro.
Alright, I think one of the things that it was saying was act confident and be confident. Yeah. And I act confident, but a lot of times I'm joking and I don't actually think it. People misunderstand it, but there's a big difference, I think. Joking and acting confident and actually being confident in your head and thinking
just being straight confident.
Yeah. I think
that is one of the main philosophies.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like most about it. There's a big difference between the two.
No, honestly, I feel like that's a great tip the book gives you because he's talking a lot about. He really goes in on humility and how he thinks it's a flawed trait, but not because he's like, oh, you don't need to be humble, be arrogant, screw you guys. It's not that way. What he's basically saying is that you don't need. This is a really good part of the book. What he says in this part is he's like, okay, look, you don't need to just hide your successes and try to silence your roar just to make insecure people comfortable. And he made this really good point, bro. You don't ever see confident people taking dumps and making fun of other confident people or being mad at other confident people's achievements. That's not something that's common. He has no loser mentality.
Yeah.
Right. So it's it's okay to be humble or to just not be a complete tool, but you don't have to silence your roar just to make insecure people feel better,
Yeah,
that should be something you have to deal with.
Like you're saying, go after your dreams and stuff. People say it'll never happen, and they say that just to make themselves feel better because they didn't go after.
Now I'm gonna ask you though. Oh, did you have a favorite part of the book or a favorite topic?
I mean, I really like the part where you saying, no matter what, you're still succeeding. You should look at it.
Oh yeah, that part.
Yeah, it was.
I'm gonna be honest. That was probably my favorite part of the book because I feel honestly, this book introduced the concept of manifestation to me. And you know what? I'm gonna say it right now. Manifestation is real. That is a real thing. But essentially, it's just the concept of you have to see it to believe it is actually the opposite. You have to believe to see it, right? You kind of have to speak things into into existence. Alright. And like he gave this really interesting story about he went to Cali with one of his rapper friends and he's like, oh man, we're gonna shoot this music video. Don't be surprised when you see us on MTV, right? And his parents like, yeah, whatever, chump. And then 3 months later, he's on MTV. You know, it's quite literally, he said it happened. You know, you play into those kind of positive reaffirmation techniques and you get where you want to. Because, you know, a lot of what you think comes true, straight up.
Yeah, and like when he said that one, like he was like, oh my god, I get 50,000 views on a video. He went to bed, he only got 50. He was still
he like, because it's like, he was talking about that, brother. Where it's like, you have a self-belief like that. You go to bed thinking, oh man, I upload this video. Man, you know, what if it gets 50,000 views? Oh, it won't. But then, like, when you go to bed, you're like all tangly, you're all nervous.
Yeah.
So it's like, clearly you have the belief in you, right?
Yeah.
And then it was kind of about the belief system and the way that I think society tries to trap you for this, bro. I'm gonna be honest, a lot of what made this book so useful for me was me being so freaked out in my headspace where it's like, I'm like every birthday I have, I get like a low-key little existential crisis. When I was 14, I was like, oh man, I'm 14 now, I don't have any time left. And then when I got out of existential crisis, I was, bruh, you're 14, what do you mean you have no time left?
I feel ya. Yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, another year I'll never get back. You're only 30.
I'll never get back. I should have appreciated me being younger more. I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done blah. You know, I know, bro, like, I'm telling you, man, that's what they do. They try to trap your mental, bro. Like, they're always going out there. And first of all, with the whole humility thing, there's nothing wrong with being humble, but a lot of people would just deny or downplay their accomplishments. I feel like that's the problem I have, where it's like, I wouldn't consider myself somebody who tries to be humble or like actually tries to sound reward. I'm trying to be arrogant, but like I try to have confidence in my work myself. But like I'm so bad at accepting compliments, bro. Like I feel so weird about it. I low-key, I feel guilty every time. I was talking to y'all about this earlier, but I kind of feel like I have like a bit of imposter syndrome, where it's like, have I told you about what that is?
Yeah.
You see yourself as less competent than other people do.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, this is a bit personal, but like, bro, y'all remember when I was in that like intro communication class? I just did my little short video, and then Roach out there gushed about how like, hold on, we're gonna have to sit down, but like, the teacher was sitting there and gushing about like how like much symbolism and stuff was in there, and like gush about all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I didn't do a lot of that. Like, I say about half of it I did, and like half of it was intentional. But like, some of the times he was going really in depth about it, I just felt like weirdly guilty about it because I felt like, they must think I'm like some sort of art house genius right now. But it's like I didn't feel that way at all. Like I felt like I don't know, like a false sort of creative figure. I didn't feel like how I should have, because it felt like a sense of false victory.
You felt like he was overhyping it, you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I say that, but I just felt like, I don't know, I felt like my expression was seen as more than I intended it to be, in like things I did on accident, or things I didn't intentionally mean to come together.
Yeah.
When viewed through the artistic lens, they line up perfectly, or they can line up to look like, oh my god, this guy is a genius. You know, and it kind of made me feel weird.
Yeah,
but like, I know, it's so crazy, bro. Like, I'm just sitting here getting complimented on how good my work is. I'm sitting there feeling like the biggest phony in the room.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of crazy stuff is that? I'm trapped inside my own brain that hard. And that's really what they're talking about. It's like you let these delusions fool you to the point where like you feel like a bad guy in your own head. You feel guilty for your success. You feel guilty for doing good. And really try to press those ideas on you and try to stop you from becoming what they know you will turn into.
Yeah, something to add to that is that that's very much I don't know. We talked about in intro to communications is there's okay. Intrapersonal is very much pep talk, like to yourself, like talk having a conversation with yourself, which that's kind of what it sounds like you were doing, Cam.
Yeah, of course. I was thinking, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I'm too hard on myself sometimes, but I feel like it's also part of discipline, so it's hard to figure it out, like the perfect balance.
And I also wanted to add that one thing I took away from this book is be more confident in yourself. Definitely, like you shouldn't let outside influences like media, I don't know, like other people's opinions. I think you should really try to find your own voice in something and then follow that into a career as you get older. And I think what's good about this is that this guy deals with the same things that we deal with. Like he understands it.
He has the imposter syndrome. He has the problems. He knows what it's like, bro. The guy dropped 11 albums before anything went right. Like he gets it.
Yeah, he understands, and that's a good thing. It's not. He actually has experience. That's what makes this a really good read.
That's what makes the message more impactful. Because it's like if you heard this, or if this message came solely from somebody who wasn't as good. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they hear things that they need to hear, they don't want to hear. A lot of times they'll use in their brains, they'll be like in denial about it, right? So it's like, but like when you have somebody like this guy, who is quite literally, how do I say, he is quite literally like super successful, $1 million every month, whatever. You can't deny it. Like he made it that way. You can't really deny it. And like at a certain point, it becomes so obvious you're in denial that your brain can't do it anymore.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, honestly.
Thank you. Like, the thing that really sucks is, I feel like it sucks having this mindset in high school and just having all these people around you who, like, you could help or could be so much better off if they just listen to you, bro. Like, I don't think a lot of people grasp how much opportunity there is for them right now and how much they have a shot because they're so busy with the peer pressure, with the appearance of being cool, and with all these little things that you don't need to worry about that right now, dude. Like, being confident is one thing, but social media, scrolling through social media and looking at other people's lives has never made anybody confident.
Mm-hmm.
Never. And you get again, I'm bringing this back to the book. You get so trapped in the field of comparison that you can't even operate yourself. And this is another thing, great point this man had in the book. We was talking about, as an artist, when you put out a single, imagine getting 50,000 plays, right? It's massive. It's insane. 50,000 plays for artists that's one might as well be 1 million, okay? But then imagine the same scenario, you're like that artist, and then instead of just enjoying the moment, you go look, oh, what did Drake do on his new single? It's like, oh, he did like 10 million. So it's like you have that 50,000 plays that can make you feel ginormous, it can boost your ego, and then it can also destroy your ego, just depending on the way you look at it. And that's the thing that's so crazy to me. It kind of, I feel like low-key mentally bends reality for me, because like, the way you see things decides the way things are, to the point where it's like, is there even such thing as an objective reality out there? Because you look at the bending way through your lens. For example, the freaking play example I just used, that he used too. You have 50,000 plays. You can feel on top of the world. Oh man, I'm so good. And then the same viewpoint, or same situation, different viewpoint, you feel tiny as like an ant, dude. So it really sucks that, like, honestly, the thing that hurts about it the most is like how hard it is for people to realize this is the right type of vibe to be on, right? Because like, dude, I used to be so misguided with this stuff. I was opposite of how I am now, bro. And not even like loud or ignorant or anything. I was just like rooted in all these complexes and insecurities I had built in within me. I had like a little network essentially. And I can hear my voice. I had like all these things bouncing back at me all the time, and like the social media echo chamber, in full blast. So it's like, it's crazy how the internet can work for or against you too.
Yeah, I will say, I want to argue one point you made about going on social media.
Yeah.
I think when you said like going on social media isn't good, I think there's some people, might feel bad about it, peer pressure. But I think there's other people like,
who get inspired.
Yeah. Also, there's people,
that's the thing.
But in a negative way, like if they, cyberbully someone and they feel better.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, of course. That's the thing. That's kind of another thing. Is like, bro, that's a great point, Issiah. But like, it's a double-edged sword. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Dude, like certain people, certain types of people go on social media and we use it to look at our favorite people, like how they got where they are, and like take the keys to success and unlock the doors with them. And the same types of people will be like looking on Instagram at like these people will be like, oh, they're so much more attractive than me. Oh, why can't I get this? Why can't I get that? Oh,
and that's not healthy.
If only my life was perfect like that.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. No.
Comparison's the thief of joy. That's something
that's what I heard too, bro. Like Kevin Gates, another hard rapper dude who y'all have certainly not heard of. I heard that from him, and I'm like, bro, he's so right. Comparing yourself to another person has never had comparison almost always ends with somebody's feelings getting hurt, like in a weird way.
It works the other way around too, like
because like you either build up your ego and destroy somebody in exchange for hurting somebody else's, or you're like getting your ego destroyed. But it's never a good thing, bro.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah, comparison's the thing. Okay, here's the thing about that last quote that I said is that comparing yourself, like what Cam said, going on social media and like looking at people who you think are better than you or anything like that, that's not healthy, and that's the opposite of you feeling joy, like it's I don't know. I just think it comes down to the fact that you really it's just so unhealthy to compare yourself. It's the opposite of joy, and it's just not something good to fall into. I realize that.
I'm sure some people do get joy from it. Like
they get joy from attacking other people, and that's not confidence. That's cockiness. The difference.
Yeah.
Confidence is thinking. It's knowing that not everybody in the room is better than you, right? Nobody's like straight up better than you, right? Arrogance is thinking you are better than everybody. So there's a huge difference.
I said this.
But,
he was saying, he lifts more weights than me. I was saying, life isn't a comparison. There's always someone worse than you, always someone better.
Better than you is like, you're gonna defeat those same people if you just, bro. Like them same people who be on top or below you stay on the ladder where they're climbing because they're so busy looking at other people. They're not focusing on climbing, and then you climb up over them. So it's like that's the great point. Life is a ladder. Don't let yourself slide down, and don't look at other people's progress. Pushing.
Yeah.
And to bring it back to the book a little bit, I think one of the great things he talks about in the book is probably about the other side, or like on the other side of fear is the truth, right? Because fear and delusion. In this book, he's talking about harnessing delusion in a good way by like harnessing delusion, and not even delusion. That's just the term. I feel like delusion, even just saying it like that, sounds like a negative thing. Like, oh, you got to be crazy to think you're
delusional,
right? Like, yeah. But it's like you kind of just got. It's just like about self-belief to the point where you believe in yourself so much. That should be a good trait. But even like saying, oh, you got to delude yourself into it sounds bad. It literally sounds up to
get bad. You have an image for yourself, or you have an image.
Yeah, you can, man. That's the thing, bro. I feel like it kind of blows my mind how it honestly does to me feel like a lot of these things have been constructed to kind of. Bro, honestly, the first time I read this book, it felt like a secret code to me. I'm like, dang, bro, this feels like I wasn't supposed to know this. Because after knowing this, like, looking at through the lens of society feels like a lot different, and looking through in the way I see it, and how they try to keep you down in ways. where it's like, you know, it's kind of the same way where it's like, I think they do it because in the same way where it's like you gotta shepherd all the sheep, right? And then you see the few ones that run away. So it's like you see the few people that are bold enough to break through the ceiling regardless, right? And then meanwhile, all these other people you see like, oh, they're extraordinary. They don't really have like the willpower for it. So you see who breaks through and who gets themselves to break through.
Yes.
I have a follow-up question to what you said earlier, Cam.
Yes.
So you said how before you're like, you know, in a bad place, you know, comparing yourself. And I was curious, do you think like these books helped you change, or was it like
you know, I don't know, man, because you understand by that I mean like I was like how I phrase this, man. Some of it was like last year when I was just felt like I had a bunch of crappier people, or like my circle was weak, and there were a few snakes in my circle that I had to get rid of. And then I got rid of them in my circle of friends with Franklin. And like part of it is just having a good circle of friends in the first place to like support you when you fall down. Because like, bro, who is if you can't trust yourself to say whatever the hell you want for your friends, they are not your friends. So it's like I just like try to use them as like a cash pad. I show them love and stuff, and like they've been some of them I know since like third grade. So they see my whole progression. But a lot of it was also just me trying too hard to be, or just like looking at what other people do, like you mentioned, comparison, and trying too hard to emulate that. And that really manifested in my previous interests in filmmaking, because I used to be really into that. Like I used to have a really big interest in filmmaking. I still do obviously have interest in filmmaking. I'm more casual with it now, but it's like I used to be so focused on like, ooh, Breaking Bad analysis, ooh, why blank is the greatest show of all time, why this is that. I'd be so focused on, ooh, how can I make it like that? How can I make this like this? That my stuff was just whack because it was so dull and unoriginal. And then it's like in my personal life, I was insecure. I lacked confidence. I had like a complex that was in a weird way like kind of better than everybody, but at the same time I had mad anxiety. I don't know, bro. Like it was really weird. And bro, I used to have like long hair. I didn't take good care of myself. It was rough. Like I had to get myself out the gutter, low key. Yeah. So it's like I got myself out kind of last year around like November, and like permanently got myself out. And then I didn't. And then like this year, I was just kind of on some decent. But I don't know. Once I started getting myself into more interesting things and not just the boring, boring, passionless land that's just all over. That's when I felt me coming out in my own artistic style and sauce that I have, and how I like to present things. That's when I saw it come out, and I finally was more me. And then books like this, and just good, you know, motivating, watching people who have gotten themselves out of the gutter, listening to other people, taking other people's advice has basically made me go super sane to the point where it's like I feel like mentally I'm like 40 years old, dude, because I know so much when I'm so early in my life that it feels like I've mentally prepared myself to deal with a lot of what I shouldn't even be thinking about, and I don't worry about it even. I just know what to do. I have a protocol.
So, like, it was the enlightenment of Cam.
Yeah, the enlightenment.
There you go.
I kind of like that. It sounds like a biblical figure. I don't know.
I have good news though.
What would that be though?
Okay, so we are 24 minutes in, which means we've recorded more than chances listened to the book. So. Okay. Yeah, I also want to add something to what you were saying, Cam, is that really finding your own interest is what's really going to make you happy. Like, don't try to get involved in something that you're not interested in, first of all, or I know we'll talk more about this later, but just be yourself, because that's what's going to be the best version of you is going to come out. Like Cam said, how once he found the things he was interested in, like he came out and not like another version of him, like so like just really find what you're interested in.
It's so crazy too. I'm sorry, please finish it out more.
No, go ahead.
But like, bruh, it's crazy the way evolution of the personality works. Because it's like at this point, I'm a different person. I have the same identifiers, and I'm technically still the same mortal vessel, but I am a different person, literally. Like, I have completely flipped the switch, right?
Yeah.
So it's that way you evolve. It's like you low-key just keep on going through the hero journey, which, like, you get the call to action, and then inevitably you go through trials and tribulations that kill off old you and create new you, and then you get the call again. It happens over and over and over with little things until you just are like a whole new structure. Wow. Okay, but now I want to talk about another thing that I'm still working on this book, and that's the chapter 7. Always new.
Real quick. It's just a little off topic, but Cam, have you ever thought of doing like videos about advice and stuff?
I thought of being a motivational speaker. I definitely could do it.
You definitely could.
I definitely could.
The definition of like I haven't seen one more. You just gotta do it.
Yeah, I should. I really should. I feel like I could start up something or like maybe do. I figure if what I'm doing right now doesn't work out, I could do that because it seems like low priority and it's something that helps people and like I enjoy doing it too. So that could definitely be a focus of mine for sure, bro. But starting another thing I want to go into is like chapter 7 is really profound and it's something that so many people are deluded about. Oh, chapter 7, always new. And the concept of this chapter, hard work over talent. Talent means nothing. Again, reiterating to the freaking people who didn't read the book and are still watching the video at this point. What are you doing? Hard work.
Chance.
Hard work is so much more important than talent. Talent means nothing if you are lazy and you don't work. Comfort in our society is something that keeps you so far behind. And I'm guilty of this too, dude. I think mostly because of my age and the time period. But it's like, bro, like I be noticing. You ever just like sit in your bed, like you gotta wake up, and you're like so comfortable that you don't want to get out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, over and over and over, and that's the same thing. It's like comfort holds you back because you gotta make yourself uncomfortable. Because when you put yourself in comfortable situations or like surround yourself with too much comfort, you lose all your hunger and you don't have the urge you would to go in and tear it apart. So I feel like hard work is always over talent, and that's another. I think Russ quoted Russell Westbrook. Russ quoted Russell Westbrook as saying, hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. Because, at the same time, I feel like there are cases where it's some instances where people get in a bag or your competitors would just be so far ahead of you through their natural talent, right? And then jealousy kicks in, you get all these things on you. And that's happened to me before, but I think a lot of what I like to sit back and realize, like, you don't hate on the next man just because they're doing better. You gotta wait your turn, and then you get to have your moment. But you don't judge by how big the moment is. You judge by the longevity. Because, I don't know, for me, for example, I listen to rap and hip-hop music, and anybody who listens to rap and hip-hop music knows one of the most difficult obstacles to overcome as a new rapper is to stay relevant and to not fall off, right? Now, for example, let's use a rap song you guys know. Macklemore Thrift Shop. Let's say, for example, Macklemore Thrift Shop. Right? It's a massive song, right? It's a big hit. Mm-hmm. But where is Macklemore now? What is that man doing?
But shit, it was 99 cents.
I mean, the career was 99 cents because it wasn't worth a dime past that, bro. But the point is, like, if you don't keep yourself, it's not about how big the moment is, because the money accolades come and go. It's about sustaining yourself off of you. You know, it sucks, but sometimes you gotta shut up. You gotta get your head down, stop complaining, and get to work. It's like I feel like I struggle with this too, bro. Like I be so busy. I'll be like, man, let me play this video game for a little bit longer. Let me do this for a bit longer. So the point where I'll be like procrastinating on little things. Like, man, I don't want to edit this video right now. I don't want to do this. So it's like it's about pushing yourself in kind of getting the drive to go where you need to go.
Oh yeah, I have something to add to that. Definitely is that the only way you're gonna really find yourself is to get out of your comfort zone, because you can't just stay trapped in the safe zone for like your whole life, because sure, that might feel good for a time, but then you're gonna regret it later on. Like exploring yourself. What?
Please finish.
Well, yeah, really quick. Exploring yourself to other opportunities, and really trying to find yourself. And again, like I said, you might feel safe in your comfort zone, and I think that's a good thing at times. But I think you really gotta get out there, because it can become really unhealthy if you just keep yourself trapped. And I think you really just getting yourself out there is what's best for you.
What I've learned about me in uncomfortable situations is I don't fare too well, and I just go straight in. Like, for example, is like sports, I guess. Like, for example, me, I get anxiety playing certain sports because I'm not that trained in it, and I don't feel like I have the background for it, right? But it's like people get afraid of uncomfortable situations. But a lot of time, a situation becomes uncomfortable when you don't train for it or you don't prepare for it. But that's what gets people is like they aren't willing to put in the hours to get themselves to that point. So when the time comes around, they're thrown into an uncomfortable situation. A lot of time you choke, like you give up, you hold as little weight as you can, and then just like pass on as quick as you can too. This has been me. Because anxiety, bro, anxiety get you so far in your own head that you feel like a different person. I don't know what it is, but like I feel myself fighting in my own brain sometimes, just sitting about. I'll be like, I'll randomly think to the most intrusive, like random thought. Bro, it used to be so messed up in my head. This is another thing I feel like screwed me up in the past. I spent too much time observing other people's art and not understanding it, and just blindly like consume. To the point where it's like you become a blank canvas, and you're just like, oh, I saw this in a movie once. And so on top of that, bro, like, let's say for example, this is a great example. You watch so many romantic comedies, your distortion isn't work because that's not reality. And then when you go ask a girl out, you get rejected, you chump, because you didn't understand the reality of the situation. Right? A great example. And it's like a lot of these situations for me were me just watching too much content and not doing enough, not engaging, not getting out. And then it's like you just watch so many movies or like listen to so much music or just do so much of one thing that you become just that thing. That's all you are. And at that point, you're just like a cartoon character.
Not everything can be Hallmark perfect, everyone.
Not everything can be Hallmark perfect. Because then Hallmark is boring, so I wouldn't even call it perfect.
Let's just say X-rated movies. That's I'm not gonna say the full joke, but
honestly, I mean, we can get into it if you want to.
Well, your interpretation gets ruined. I'm just gonna say lust. That's all I'm gonna leave it at.
Honest, man, I actually see what you're saying, bro. Like, that's such an easy addiction to fall into as a young guy, bro.
As a growing teen.
But that's all we gotta say. That's all we gotta say about that. Let's not get that deep.
Yeah. No.
Hey, y'all are insecure about it. I'm not. No. Okay. Let's move on. I'm looking at chapter guide right now. Another thing is about the journey. The journey is very important because there's no final destination on your journey as you go on. None of it. Like it's never over. It's always a new struggle, always a new thing. It's like you gotta learn to enjoy the process and not be focused on the finish line. You do things just to have. Obviously, you grind for end goals, right? But if you do things just for the end goal and you don't have the enjoyment of the thing, you lose passion for it. So it's like, for example, if you start, I don't know, let's say you start rapping, you start making music just to make money, just to hit a certain amount of streams. When you hit that amount of streams, you're not going to be content, and you're just going to want more and more and more. And that hole in you is never going to be filled.
Like a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, one-hit wonder. You just want it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Never enough. Okay. Now. Another great part. The focus. I feel like this is gonna be a long discussion because focus, bro. How easy is it to lose focus now? It's so freaking. People see their current reality and what they were building up to something, and they think their current moment is always gonna be their future moment. And the perfect example is us being in high school. I see people in PCC like, man, I'm in second year. I still fail PCC. And they're like bragging about it like it's like a flex or something that they're holding themselves back like that. But at the end of the day, for me, I just think that I don't know how to properly say it, but a lot of the time you get so distracted by like the vanity of your present moment, you lose focus of what's really important, man.
And PCC equals preparing for college and careers. Just so everyone knows.
I think they know that. Like, that's just a random example, but like certain people just be so unfocused. They don't care about the actual course of high school, just like what's on paper and the connections you make. They care about the drama, the petty beats, the day to day, right? Like they see it almost as like they're almost institutionalized, or they're so used to school. And despite this tale being told over and over again, where it's like, oh, the popular people are gonna end up poor and broke, and the smart kids are gonna end up rich and famous, or whatever. Like the same narrative over and over again, which that's a little exaggerated, but it's so true, bro. Like the people who are focused on being cool in high school never are always lame in the real world. Because think about it, how lame of a person do you have to be focused on being the man in high school? Like, I'm trying to be the man in high school, you know, all these
very lame.
teenagers around me.
Very lame.
Very lame, bro. You know something? Like, cool is not a real concept. You are cool based on your definition. Stop trying to be cool to other people. That is not cool. That is something a lame person does.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, bro, y'all so scared to be yourselves. You just become the most boring cutter people. Like Emily, who likes Starbucks in the office. For example, what about Emily, who likes Starbucks in the office? Does she have any other personality traits aside from just that? No personality, bro. You get so caught up in trying to be cool and be like appeal. Bro, you're not a company. You don't need to worry about your market appeal, dude. Like, my God, y'all are so freaking pressed to just be cool to a bunch of people who are idiots. Like, screw the popular crowd, bro. People who are popular are only popular because they say stupid things that other ignorant teenagers think but don't want to say. They're only popular based solely off ignorance. Screw popularity. Screw that. Screw trying to be cool. Screw all of it. It's for idiots. It's for chumps. Right? It's just a trap that you push yourself in and that you see the trends, what's famous, what's popular, what's cool. How can I be like this? How can I be like that? Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Wait, it's those people who sit in PCC and are like, I don't want to have a career. I want to sit in my parents' basement for the rest of my life, kind of thing.
They be joking about that. I hear that too, bro.
Okay.
There's some people they insecure.
They
want to be cool.
They joke about it, but
it's what happens.
They don't try, so it's what happens, and then they become the lamest people in the world. And if they went back to high school, if they went back to high school and they tried and they got a restart button, then they would be maybe living a successful career and they wouldn't be in their parents' basement, and they would wish they didn't joke about that and they actually tried back in high school.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off first. Bro, it's such a vicious cycle, I'm telling you. Okay? Let me walk you through this. Them people in these classes who be bragging about, man, I failed this class, I just caught a case, blah, 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 blah. Oh, are you gang? Are you cool? Whatever, all this lame, ignorant crap, right? Them same people see the adults who are trying to preach their truth and they're like, oh, you're lame. You're Pastor Mo. I'm popular, I'm cooler than you, right? They think they're better than you, right? Then they move on, they evolve, they get hit with the real world, and they realize the consequences of their actions. And then they start to regret it, and that regret forms into guilt. And then they put like barely any effort into their normal job. They're all lame. Like it's they don't care. They have no passion for what they do. They're working a dead end 9 to 5, right? And they're broke. They live 9 to 5 lives. I don't know. Maybe if they're a dude, you got like your girlfriend pregnant or something at like 18 because you thought being the man in high school was going to keep you financially supported. And now you're out here flipping patties at McDonald's because you realize, oh yeah, nobody cares. I was prom kid.
Wow. Yes.
Truth bombs. Sorry if you're offended. That just means I'm right. And then later on, they turn into the same adults they were thinking were lame. So first they start off being morally incorrect, but they have strong principle of like, man, screw all these old people. They're lame. I'm popular. I'm going to be here forever. That's low-key the delusion you fall into. It's just not that obvious, but that's the delusion you fall into. Then they get hit with the real world, reforms, they realize the reality, and then they become the same old people who are like, same people who low-key peaked in high school, bro. But peaking in high school is your choice. You do not have to peak in high school. Don't be like these lames.
Yes. Also, guilt is like the worst thing to have to deal with. So please don't.
Yeah,
please don't.
Do things for your future self, bro. Stop being so selfish. It's the same concept. People in college do it too because they're like, oh man, I'm gonna get messed up at this party, and then the next morning they're like, oh man, why I get messed up at a party? Now I got a test. I got 50 exams today. It's like, dude, alright, don't do things for your future self. Stop being so selfish in the moment.
Don't live with guilt.
Like, the future is always more important than the present moment because the present moment is never everlasting. It's always gone as soon as you notice it. Like, dude, I just now started to reflect. I just now digested 2019, and we're like at the end of 2021. Like 2020 is just a year I completely skipped over. I have no positive or negative feelings for it, and now I feel my brain trying to nostalgia glorify 2019, which is just another crappy year of Cameron not quite at his peak, right? So
Great
it's like,
point.
bro, you can't trust it.
Definitely.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time.
I'm trying to think. What 2019? Okay, so that was pre-COVID, so things were obviously different.
I mean, COVID ain't dented me at all. Well, COVID just forced me to actually think about what I was doing wrong.
I don't know. Issiah, didn't you say you had a story to share?
Oh yeah, it's about PCC. It's good. So you reminded me that was me. I said I want to work at Little. We did our presentation what we want to do, and I said I want to work at Little Caesars. I thought it was hilarious. Like I went up to the class and presented about it, and we had a job interview, and I was saying why I should be a manager at Little Caesars. And like I realized back then I was kind of like because I worked right, I didn't like focus on school. I used to be really smart in 8th grade, but then when I got a job, it kind of like ruined my school ethic. Yeah. Well, I should mention that, but it's like, look, man, sometimes you gotta use it like this mentality. If you can't do what you gotta do to put food on the table and your side hustle, you don't want it that bad. Yeah. But it's also like, I feel like you take more advantage of your resource time. You definitely won't need to worry as much because I almost never break this home. Never. Yeah. I feel like just having a job just like changed me as a person. Man, I don't have a job yet because I feel like I'm already doing so much. That's why I had to quit. I was like, I need to take a little bit. I need it's mentally exhausting, man. Yeah. I was like, wow. I traded in all this time I had myself to flip freaking patties and bad fries. And at the same time, all I got to do, like, at the same time, bro, I'm getting paid like
crap wages. I got like $200 every 2 weeks for this garbage.
Yeah.
I sacrificed my child's work for this.
Exactly. And you see the adults that work there, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna end up like them.
Yeah. You're like, oh god, I'm gonna be crusty and old.
I know, they're like 50 working at pizza. Like, oh shit.
I do feel bad for them.
Those are the people who be flexing their failures, bro. You ain't gonna end up like them. You follow the road plan.
I do kind of feel bad for them in a way, you know.
No, they earned their failure. They want to be ignorant then, and they paid the price for it now. Screw them.
I mean,
yeah, they don't want to be saved. So,
do you have like another topic written down?
Now let's get this a few more.
Okay.
Another thing that's crazy though is again chapter 14. Take it all in. Tornado effect. Is that on, bro? Like the tornado effect, where it's like you know there's a tornado coming. You go in the basement to hide. Then when it's done, you look, and it's like you're shocked, right? And now you knew the tornado was coming, but you didn't understand the wrath of it. It's the same thing with the guy talking about his success, where he was like, he's like, I knew my success was coming, but when I saw it, I was blown away because you knew it was coming, but the effects blew your mind just out of the shock value, just out of the factor of it coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That was profound, bro.
When you're close to death, and then you realize you're dying.
It's like, ugh. But, like, you were living in denial, so it didn't catch you then.
Yeah.
Caught it too late. Caught it too late in a sense, you know?
Yeah, bro.
But it's more like a positive way, isn't it? In a positive way?
In this way, it's a positive way.
Yeah.
But it's always the element of denial, where it's like, people be acting so tough because they be seeing little alternatives in their head. When it would come to fruition, and they don't have the little factors they hadn't met, you freak out, bro. It's just the way it worked. Like, it started tweaking heavy over these little things. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think, I'm sorry, it's a very good taco on him, myself, in defense there. It's very good. But, I think I'm going to bring up one more chapter, then I'm just going to completely close and go fully off the cuff. Now,
yeah.
Another great thing. The game. Screw the points. The points are useless. We talked about this a bit later, but the accolades don't sustain you at all. The accolades of, like, what you get or what you want don't change where you are. It just kind of, it can either make you complacent or make you see you want more if it's lacking. But a lot of times, when you start off in these things, the lack of comfort is what drives you to push because you want to give yourself better circumstances. But then you keep pushing, and eventually the fruits of your labor start to work against you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just, like, keep on going over and over to the point where it's like the comfort starts to eat you alive. I think getting out of bed is bad. But you guys ever, like, just sit on a couch or just be chilling in your house, and for some reason you be so lazy that you don't even want to go upstairs or downstairs or, around the house, do something simple?
Yes.
You even get up, turn on the light.
Yep.
That's what it becomes like when you get to where you want it to, when the tornado affects that. So you're like, oh my god, it's really here. When you're cut off hard like that, you kind of lose a little track. You lose a little sense of self for a bit, man. And you gotta pull it back together, put all your eggs in the basket again, and you gotta get it back together. Because otherwise, this becomes the point where a lot of your favorite people in the industry, they fell off. They would give up by now, right? You gotta rise above there, and you can't let these things dent you. You can't let it fold you.
Definitely.
It's so hard to get into these things sometimes because that's so. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off. I'll finish this quickly. I promise.
Okay.
I'm sorry, bro.
No, go ahead.
Okay, but a lot of it can be difficult. Sometimes you just gotta jump into something, which is what I was telling you earlier, because sometimes you get all the art, you get all these obstacles for Disneyland. It's like, all right, in your third year of this, you'll have this taxing, like all these Omega specific obstacles. Sometimes you just gotta jump in there and like feel the waters for yourself and just let yourself observe, and then you pick it up from there. Because if you just have so many things to worry about, bro, if you're gonna jump off the cliff, as the metaphor you talked about in the book, if you're gonna jump off the cliff, just like thinking about all these other things is gonna be difficult. So just don't even worry about it. Just think about jumping off the cliff and growing your wings. That's all you need to worry about at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Okay. Okay. So going back to the laying in bed and not wanting to get up and do a simple task, it kind of goes back to the whole being stuck in your comfort zone thing. You feel too comfortable laying in your bed that you cannot get up. And if you want to complete a simple task, like say you want to go and turn on the lights, for instance, because that's going to help you see things better, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone and do it, because otherwise you're just going to be sitting in the dark.
Bro, imagine like ancient cavemen. Imagine if ancient cavemen were like so enamored by comfort. What do you think would happen if back in like the BC era, and this bunch of like half naked cavemen going ooga ooga in like a cold stone cave, and they get their first fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if they just sat by that fire for the rest of their lives? We would not be here right now if a lot of those cavemen didn't immediately turn away from the comfort and like throw it away and get going. So like, comfort's great, but comfort isn't always natural. Comfort isn't always good. Sometimes it can be something like comfort and your distraction with pleasure can take away from the long run. Like delayed pleasure can be better sometimes.
Definitely. Yeah, totally agree.
You get comfort from like society and just
like feeling society. Just like, filling up. Ooh, I feel fat. I just ate a lot. Let me get in the car and I'm gonna go home, take a nice sleep, relax, chill. Get so ingrained in you, bruh. You gotta snap out of it. It's a trap.
Oh yeah,
not really, because people be making matches and stuff. Obviously, you're not thinking, "Oh man, I gotta keep this guy from achieving his dreams." But it's just something you gotta deal with yourself.
Cameron, I noticed you use the phrase "don't put your eggs in one basket" in like a good way.
I use it in a good way.
Well, normally it's like don't put your eggs in one basket, and you said put all your eggs in one basket. So I was like,
well, yeah, but he was talking about it in the book too. That's crazy. That's crazy things he was talking about in the book, where it's like Russ had a teacher, and he was like regurgitating all the crap he was about. Oh, music isn't realistic. Music isn't that. Music isn't that. He's like, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Teacher's like, okay, make sure you have a basket. But it's like, I say, screw that. Don't put your eggs in one basket thing, bro. Like, at this age, at least, experiment, bro. Get weird. Like, put your eggs in a basket. That's not to say don't have a plan B, don't be financially literate, and don't make sure you're okay. Obviously, those are, like, good, but, like, don't be so focused on everything that you neglect this career. This is your main thing, bro. So put your eggs in one basket. Screw it. Do it.
I see what you're saying.
Man, you don't put your eggs in one basket. You're too nervous to, like, even commit to it. That shows a lack of self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Put your eggs in a basket. Be a man. Now.
Don't be lame.
Don't be. that's a more peer pressure way to put it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be a not nice person. Get it right. Don't. I mean, that's great. That's a great point, man. I didn't realize what I was saying because it came to me so naturally. But people so scared. And again, I'm gonna reiterate one quote. Let me fade out a little bit, but I thought it was fantastic when he mentioned what Will Smith said. It's like, bruh, the phrase "not realistic," like, going to school for music isn't realistic, going to school for film isn't realistic, is one of the dumbest phrases that has ever been uttered. Dude, again, Will Smith said this, but when the Wright brothers decided they wanted to bend a piece of metal over the sky to, like, fly, was that realistic? A freaking piece of metal, like, propelling into the air? Does that sound realistic? No.
Mm-mm.
But did they think so? No, they didn't think so. And where'd they get? When Thomas Edison decided, or it don't matter who, when he decided that when you flip a switch, a big series of tubes in your wall were gonna shine lights on. Does that sound realistic? No, it doesn't sound realistic. You can make anything sound unrealistic, but you make your own reality. Reality is like a construct. What you think is what happens. So what is reality? Is that even a good argument? No. Just some people who didn't have the balls to pursue what you're trying to pursue, say to try like the insecure and self-doubter people just use that to try and justify their failures, but it doesn't define you.
Yes, get out of your comfort zone and explore your passions again.
And you know what's the title of this book? Oh yeah, it's all in your head. That says so much about the book too. It's all in your head. Like a lot of what your problems are, what you see as your insecurities is all in your head. It's not real.
Definitely, I agree.
Reality is again something you kind of manufacture, bro.
Yeah.
Let's get it back out. I don't know. I think I dropped plenty of gems. I think we had a great discussion about this book. Honestly, I kind of want to recommend y'all another motivational book because I've been reading. I feel like it might be like too long, honestly. I'll put it out there. We don't have to read it, but y'all know 50 Cent, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
50 Cent. 50 Cent has a book. It's called Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter by him. It's basically like an extensive book about all these, a lot of concepts like in this book expanded on. It's like 9 hours. I say it's more calculated in this book, and since this book's like a great intro point, that's like the point where we start to move on.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's go.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And also, as far as the future goes, we'll find more topics to talk about because we have plenty of stuff to cover. Like we've barely scratched the surface when it feels like we
I'm so ready to dunk on them.
When it comes to topics to talk about, I feel like we've barely talked about. We feel like we talked about a lot of stuff, but a lot of the stuff that we have talked about, we haven't gone deep into, and that's what that's our goal, is to really dive
That's the
deep.
complex, is like trying to give our listeners, like, it may be a small platform right now, but when we pull up, it can expand, right? But like,
we'll
the
get there.
point is to give our listeners a launch pad, whether they take it or not, to kind of jump out and like at least put them on to resources. Like this book, I feel like I want more people to know about this book. This should be one of the biggest books ever. Like this should be something that you're like at least made aware of, you know? It's like certain resources I wish were more present because they can help you get out better. But that's part of what I want this to be. It's like a way to help you push out or to put you on what to help you push out.
Yes, and we'll definitely link the audio book in the description below. And please
it's a great book.
Read it.
Bro,
Read it, and then come listen to this podcast. Unlike Chance.
Yeah, don't be like Chance. That would be kind of
lame.
Don't go too deep into it. Don't think too much about it. Just take it as it is.
Just listen to the freaking book. You know, and just observe the message.